Okay, so as you probably sensed, I am really not gonna let the attempt to rehabilitate Joe Biden's image in the wake of his resignation go. In fact, I plan to do the first shit post we've done in what, 8 months probably? I am planning on doing a shit post. Hopefully, I'll have it ready for Thursday about Mr. Biden. But in the meantime, did you pull up? Did you load in the slide of the? Because I want to credit the guy who made it.
Yes.
Or shared it.
We got that.
Yeah, there it is. I got it. All right. So this was from Question Everything. So big shout out. I'm not sure if he made it, but I think he did. And it's very good. So this is just a brief 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes of some of the lowlights of Joe Biden's career.
Barack Obama nor I support redefining from a civil side what constitutes marriage.
Contributors, and the only reason, see, I went to the big guys for the money. I was ready to prostitute myself.
And turns out one of my closest friends ends up being Strom Thurmond. That's a very nice...
All right, so Strom Thurmond was in the Klan. He ran for president as a segregationist candidate. I think it was 1948. He ran as a segregationist.
Introduction. It could have been shortened a great deal by saying Joe Biden is here tonight. He works for Strom Thurmond. In a nutshell, the president's plan doesn't include enough police officers to catch the violent thugs, not enough prosecutors to convict them, not enough judges to sentence them.
We passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice.
Why have I been so reluctant, so persistent in not providing aid to the people of Serbia, who are many good people? Why? Because until they look in their hearts, they can never cure themselves of the disease that they are the oppressed.
God-awful thing to say. If Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean or rose up 300 feet, it wouldn't matter a whole lot.
President Joe Biden, how are you? Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
I was suggesting we bomb Belgrade. I was suggesting that we send American pilots in and blow up all the bridges on the Drina.
I think the one place where the greatest consternation would be caused in the short term for admission would be to admit the Baltic states now in terms of NATO-Russian, U.S.-Russian relations. And if there was ever anything that was going to tip the balance, were it to be tipped in terms of a vigorous and hostile reaction, I don't mean military, in Russia, it would be that.
You think? You think adding Baltic states would generate a hostile reaction from Russia? Wow. Young Joe Biden should give elderly, dementia-ridden Joe Biden a call about that. Let him in on it. Remember, now, for anyone who wants to say, oh, this is in the past, Joe Biden in 2019 opened his campaign by bragging about how close his relationship was with segregationists, and how they got things done, and how they didn't call him boy. They called him son. That's who Joe Biden is. He has always been that person. Reagan thought his draft of a crime bill was too extreme. And when he's talking about if you get caught with that, 5 years, this is where the famous disparity between crack cocaine and powdered cocaine comes from. If you're using the street drug, 5 years. You didn't have that provision for people using the powdered form, which is a more upper class form. That is just a very small sampling. Obviously, this was all last minute with my shit post. I will get into it more. But Joe Biden, he capped off a career of horrors with a genocide. That is how he should be remembered.
Yes. Yes. And he was always just a nasty, ignorant moron who thought that during the, 70s, 80s, and 90s, the way to garner as much power and influence was to basically co-opt the worst ideas of an ascendant Republican Party and put a D next to it, right? And he was not the only one to do that, but as Russell said, he's the last active and present political figure serving now who really rode that wave. And that was his strategy throughout his whole life. And that is why in his later years, he became, when he, quote unquote, softened on some of these things. And I say quote unquote softened because his temperament softened because he became an old man, right?
I don't
but
even
he didn't
see it
really,
that way. The times
he didn't really,
changed.
yeah. But this is what I mean. The way he presented, softened. He is now just a company man. He's the guy who cut his, he cut his teeth in that era, and he knows that those are the only kind of politics in his mind that work. Bill Clinton, same thing. Hillary Clinton, same thing. All these Democrats from that era, same thing. That is the only way to wield power. The only way to wield power is on behalf of the rich and the large corporations and the MIC against the ordinary people, not only of this country, but of the world. And that's just who he is. And obviously, there's just no place for that. I think this was from Corn Pop because it says on the bottom from Corn Pop. I think this guy just embedded it into his tweet. So whoever did that, good job. Good on you for doing that. Seems like Corn Pop was the original uploader, if not the editor. But that was a nice little retrospective and a nice good riddance to Joe Biden.
Please clap.